Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel. In this short video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous night of the local time. And this video we're going to start not with Orechov, not with Kupiansk. This video we're going to start with a small village that located on the north of Bakhmut, and this village has the name of Orekhovo-Vasilievka, this area. During the previous week, starting from the 24th of September, we got at least two updates that the Russians managed to establish control over the entire village. The first update we got on the 24th of September at 8 p.m. of the local time, and the Russians reported that the forces, the airborne forces of 106th Division, managed to establish control over the entire Orekhovo-Vasilievka, to clear the settlement, and so on. If we take a look at this map, we're gonna find this 106th Division exactly in this area. The next update we got also on the 24th of September at 9 p.m. that the airborne forces of 106th Division managed to capture the city. And starting from 24th of September, we stopped to receive any update from this direction. And this is the reason why we haven't changed the color of the map for so long. But today, to be more precise, yesterday in the evening on the 27th of September of the local time, the Russians published the first geolocated video from this area. Of course, based on that video, very difficult to understand where exactly the Russians are moving, but the author of this video claimed that this video was made in Orekhovo-Vasilievka. After that, probably every single ascent organization in the world started searching this building inside of Orekhovo-Vasilievka, and a few hours later this video was published. We got the first geolocation right exactly on the edge of the city. So this is the small red building, and basically this is the same red building on the edge of Orekhovo-Vasilievka. Some sources were saying that these buildings are not the same, are not equal, and so on. So a lot of speculations, a lot of projections, and so on, but most of the people, most of the mappers confirmed that that was exactly the building that we saw in that video. Now let's talk about this Orekhovo-Vasilievka. The Russian sources are saying that as a result of clashes, they managed to capture the entire village. And if we try to analyze the village, we see that this is a very long village, around 3 kilometers. And by saying that they managed to capture the entire village, it's not just to capture the street and to capture these buildings all along the street. The most important that when talking about this area is to capture 3 fortifications around the village. This is the first fortification, a small 2 forests located let's say below the village, and there are 2 fortifications that are located above the village. This is the first one and this is the second. And by saying that the Russians managed to capture entire Orekhovo-Vasilievka, that means that somehow the Russians managed to fix the issues with these 3 let's say fortifications. I'm not saying that the Russians managed to capture them, but maybe they managed to block them, or maybe they managed to establish some positions and footholds inside of them. Very difficult, but anyway, another thing that I haven't updated the entire village under Russian control, because if the Russians manage to capture the entire area, of course this is going to be not just like the capture of small village, this is going to be an entire collapse of Ukrainian forces on the northern flank, because there is a canal, very powerful and let's say very strong and very difficult natural barrier in this area that split this territory in few parts, and there are not much places where the Ukrainians can cross canal, and basically by taking Orekhovo-Vasilievka, the entire Ukrainian forces would be split in 2 parts, north and the south one. And after taking Orekhovo-Vasilievka, the second benefit, the Russians managed to get on hill in this area, and basically currently they have like strategical position, strategical hill, and from this hill they can control every single city in this direction, not just Menkovka, Golubovka, Perivili, but also the Russians, by taking Orekhovo-Vasilievka, established control over Grigorievka. Of course, there are another fortification between Grigorievka and Orekhovo-Vasilievka, but as I understand, this is going to be the next target of the Russians. Anyway, as you can see, according to this map, I still haven't updated the entire Orekhovo-Vasilievka under Russian control. I assume that they managed to enter the edge positions, maybe to pass a half, or maybe to pass 30 or 40% of the city. We need more details, need more geolocations before we update the entire area. When talking about southern direction, we got a lot of videos from the Russian sources how they were bombing and attacking the Ukrainian positions in Ivanovska and in the vicinity of Klishchiivka. Significant number of losses among the Ukrainian manpower. There are no chances to hold this territory for a very long time. The Ukrainians managed to force the Russians to stop to the right from the railways in this area, but I'm not sure that the Ukrainians are able to hold Klishchiivka and Andriivka for a very long time because of complete absence of any fortifications and defense belts. The Russians anyway will counterattack, and even if the Russians have some progress on the northern part, the Ukrainians will basically force to step back from this area to the left side of this canal. Now we are moving to the north, so we're going to talk a little bit about Kupiansk direction, because today we got video geolocated confirmation of yesterday update that the Russians managed to destroy almost the final bridge in this area that connected the left and the right side of Oskol. If you remember, yesterday we discussed that as a result of artillery strike or as a result of air bombing strike, the Russians managed to destroy the bridge between the settlement by the name of Sinkova and the settlement by the name of this one, Kruglakovka. So this bridge was destroyed. During the previous week, I'll remind you, we got a few updates that the Russians destroyed significant number of bridge and pontoon bridges in the vicinity of Kupiansk. Up from 2 till 4 bridges were destroyed here. So basically, I understand that as a result of those artillery strikes, the Russians destroy every single bridge, every single pontoon crossing, everything along this part of Oskol River. And below this line, we see that Oskol is very wide, and currently it's very difficult, probably even impossible, to build any pontoon bridge exactly in this area. Maybe the Ukrainians have some bridge between the settlement Gargovatka and Barova, maybe. I believe that they have, but as you can see, this bridge is located very far from the main Ukrainian positions in Kupiansk, and I don't think that this bridge has left a lot of time. Anyway, sooner or later the Russians will destroy this bridge as well between Barova and Gargovatka. Currently, the Ukrainian forces in the vicinity of Kupiansk, to be more precise, from Sinkovka to, let's say, Kruglakovka, Novoselsк, located in a small artillery fire pocket. They don't have possibilities to move closer to the left side or right side, west side of Oskol River. They don't have such possibilities, and currently the Ukrainian logistics probably looks like following. So the Ukrainian redeployed their forces first to, let's say, Kupiansk, then they need to move to the south, somewhere to the direction of Barova, and from Barova the Ukrainians have possibility to move their forces to the north. So very tough, very difficult logistic roads, and of course this is a very big problem. And as I understand, the Russians have prepared everything they need to start the greatest offensive operation, the Russian greatest counter-offensive operation in Kupiansk front line, and the Russians will try to attack in 3 directions. Currently the Russians have already started their offensive operation in the vicinity of like Novoyegorovka, and we understand that the clashes that took place in this area, and the main purpose of these clashes, the Russian attempts to penetrate this area, is to attack in direction of Barova and basically to create a cauldron. So this is the operation to create the first, probably classic big cauldron of Ukrainian forces that located in Kupiansk direction. The bridges along the river was destroyed. The Russians tried to penetrate the Ukrainian defense belt in the vicinity of Novoyegorovka, yet they haven't managed to achieve like significant success. But as we discussed yesterday, they managed to create at least 12 groups, assault groups in number of 2,000 soldiers and around 110,000 soldiers in this area as well. So this is the upcoming operation that obviously the Russians will try to complete before winter comes. Now we are moving to the south, to Orekhovo-Vasilievka area. Today we got also a lot of details, a lot of updates from this territory, and the most important are coming from Verbova. The Russians published a series of videos that took place not just this night and yesterday. It's probably the series of videos that of clashes for Verbova that started probably maybe the previous week or something like this. And now, based on this video, we can understand the real reasons and the real purposes of the Ukrainians and the Russian tactics in this area. And basically, the Ukrainians reached the edge tree line in front of the city. This is the Russian armored vehicles that tried to attack the Ukrainians. And on the right corner of this screen, you're gonna see the first buildings of Verbova. So basically, the Ukrainians is on the edge positions, and they can attack from these tree lines the Russian positions in Verbova with the light guns. So it's not a problem. So the clashes, the first attempts to storm the city has started. And based on this video, we can see the main purposes of the Ukrainians. The thing is that during this video, while watching this video, I saw one important thing: the trenches, the network of trenches. And basically there is one big trench that goes from, let's say, somewhere from fields of Verbova exactly to this industrial area, along these fields, crossing these three lines, and then these trenches line enter this area. And the purpose and the reason and the main purpose of Ukrainians is to move along these trenches, because it's very difficult to move along the open field because they will be attacked and destroyed immediately. But using trenches, it's at least something like small defense belt, some shelter that they can use to get as close as possible and even to enter these farms or some industrial area in the city. The next phase is to establish like a foothold in this area, to dig in deeper, and after that to attack the Russian positions in different directions, to the north, to the east, and of course to the south. So this is the Ukrainian plans. Yet the Ukrainians haven't managed to implement even 40 or 50% of this plan. The only thing they managed to achieve is to establish some temporary positions along this yellow line, but the Russians always counterattack them. The Russians counterattack usually from the south. They're moving like their armored vehicles to the north. They attack, they landed troopers, clear the trenches, and then the Russians are stepping back to Verbova as well. So this is the battle, this is the situation. The Russians published also the video of destroyed Ukrainian marder somewhere in the fields between Verbova and Robotina. Just we are using this video just to geolocate and to understand the situation that happens and take place in this area. Now we are moving to the southern direction, to Kherson area, and today we got more details about the previous night strikes that took place in this area. The Russians attacked the ammo depot in Krivoy Rog. There was a very heavy explosion in that area. A lot of munition depots were destroyed, maybe even tank and fuel depots and so on. And another strike took place, another attack took place in Nikolaev airfield, yet we haven't received even a single video confirmation of that. There were just like talks from local channels, from local Telegram channels, that the people heard explosions in the vicinity of the airfield. So I believe today the Ministry of Defense probably will publish some details about that attack. And very interesting details we got from the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. The Ukrainians are saying that they managed to shot down during the previous night 34 or 44 Shahed, these drones. And this is very interesting number, because the Ukrainians used to show us usually that they managed to destroy 99% of everything, of rockets, missiles, and probably for the first time since the beginning of publishing these reports, the Ukrainians shown more or less like real picture that they destroyed just 34 or of 44. I believe that they shot down even less, but at least these numbers are much closer to the reality than we used to see before. So this is the situation. Furthermore, the Russians continue bombing and attacking the cities like Kherson, and when talking about area, we need some point our attention to the situation on the islands. Today the Ukrainians published the video, very interesting video, how they attacked with Russian positions with some kind of drone, very interesting type of drone, something in the middle between FPV drone and Russian Lancet, and as a result of strike, some Russian positions were hit in the buildings between the islands. So we are using this video just to geolocate the Russian edge positions in the islands, and basically this territory, let's say on the west of Oleshki, are under complete Russian control. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds you to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.